When you turn on your faucet, the water that comes through your sink was first treated at plants like this one to make sure it's safe. All water that moves through here was pulled from the Memphis Aquifer, which acts as a natural filtration system. But the more breaches that form in the protective clay layer, the more at risk water in the aquifer is to contamination.
We are a forgotten area. We're an area that has always been made promises and no promise kept.
Coined one of Memphis's most contaminated communities, neighbors in Boxtown like Marilyn Gooch have lived under the threat of air pollution for decades.
My mother was one of 11 children. Every one of her siblings have died of cancer. Some form of cancer, not one type of cancer, that have grown up in this area.
The historically black neighborhood is surrounded by plants and factories, which over the years have pumped dangerous pollutants into the air. Now, new research shows some of those same factories may be putting Memphis's water source at risk too.
It's always the corporations or the companies that, because of the work that they do, and because they may do their drainage from their businesses and whatever they're putting in our soil that goes down into the water system that affects us.
Scientists have confirmed at least 5 breaches across Shelby County. Those are areas where the protective clay is missing and chemicals can more easily reach the Memphis Aquifer that supplies our drinking water. The breach closest to Boxtown sits right under the TVA plant in southwest Memphis. On that site, 3 million cubic tons of coal ash full of toxic chemicals like arsenic and mercury.
So in a sense, we're all impacted, but there are neighborhoods, predominantly black neighborhoods, that are more impacted than others just due to industry and environmental pollution.
Sarah Houston runs the advocacy group Protect Our Aquifer.
One thing about the aquifer is that it's so slow moving. You know, like I mentioned, it takes years for water to filter down through a breach into our aquifer. But the areas around those breaches will be what contributes to that local area's groundwater pumping supply. And so, you know, people that live in Boxtown, their water quality is going to be very different than the water in Cordova.
Fox 13 Investigates wanted to know what is done to make sure the water coming into our homes is safe.
For us, it's a labor of love that we work on to try to keep this water system in good shape.
Germantown Public Works Director Bo Mills oversees both of the city's water treatment plants. That water also comes from the Memphis Aquifer, an average of 7 million gallons per day.
So a lot goes into this process.
It does, a lot goes into the process.
An 8-step process to be exact. First, water is pumped from wells near the plant to a water treatment facility. Then it goes through several treatments in order to add oxygen, chemicals, and to kill any pathogens that cause disease. After that, water flows through these filters to make sure all remaining particles are removed. Then, a disinfectant and a phosphate compound is added to reduce corrosion in the distribution system, and a small amount of fluoride is added for dental hygiene. Chlorine is then put into the water as the final treatment for disinfection. Finally, the treated water is pumped into the distribution system and stored in underground reservoirs and in water towers.
It is something you just take for granted. You get up in the morning, you're ready to brush your teeth, and you walk to the faucet and you turn the knob and water appears. You don't think about all the work and the process that had to go through to get that water to your tap.
Mills said our water is safe. He says people who live next to breaches are not more at risk to drinking water contamination because it all goes to a pumping station before it's distributed. Environmental scientists agree our water supply is still very clean and they haven't seen any widespread contamination. They're working to discover and treat contamination before it hits our aquifer. But now that scientists know where some of the problem areas are, Gooch wants action to be taken now to protect Memphis's most coveted resource for everyone.
Right now they know that there's going to be an issue. Fix it. Don't let it happen. Don't allow our water to become polluted.
The head of the treatment plant here says the Memphis aquifer is a limited resource. That's why we need to do all we can to conserve water. Some tips include fixing any leaks in your home, not letting the water run while you shave or brush your teeth, and not running your dishwasher unless it's completely full. In Germantown, Mandy Robb, Fox 13 News.